Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. If it's major news in terms of the professional wrestling, the likeness of it, we talk about it here on the GSMC, Wrestling Laureate Podcast, hosted by the amazing GSMC Sports Network. So, today on tap, well, first and foremost, it is Thursday. It's Thursday, we are one day away. We're getting so close. We are absolutely just itching closer and closer to the holidays. And as a parent, I got to be honest, the holidays, they're not so kind to me, especially my wallet. I'm just kidding. No, but it's all about, it's all about the kids. I got three kids, so, definitely got to make sure that they're happy, because, you got to remember when you're that age, the holidays just they mean so gosh darn much. It's crazy. You build for the memories. I'm ready for it. I'm already getting pumpkin spice stuff all over the house. I got candles. I've been drinking nothing but pumpkin spice coffee. So if I look a little orange, I'm just kidding. No. That was a dad joke. Sorry. So we're just gonna dig on into it. Another awesome episode. Thank you guys for joining me once again in terms of professional wrestling. So on tap today, we have our AEW Dynamite review. We have my Thursday night wrestling preview. Step into the world of Ring of Honor and step into the ring of TNA. TNA's last show before their pay-per-view, TNA Emergence, which we're going to talk about in our third segment. We're going to predict the pay-per-view they have on Friday. Should be pretty awesome. In our fourth segment, we're going to talk about what it really means for AEW when Bryan Danielson has the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I think the company as a whole, I feel like it's kind of going to, it's going to shift. I feel like it's going to shift. Obviously, when you had the belt with Swerve Strickland, who did an amazing job. Now, like we're going to talk about on AEW Dynamite, how Tony Khan is pushing this feud between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, and I don't know, with Bryan Danielson leading the charge, I just feel like it's going to leave the company open for just more and more shocks, more and more suggestions in terms of good wrestling bookings. Now, I'm not saying that that Tony Khan has been bad in terms of that, but we're going to get into it a little deeper later on. I don't want to spoil too much. And in our fifth and final segment, we're going to talk about some AEW debuts that was excuse me, absolutely super surprising. We saw on AEW Dynamite, Ricochet, King Ricochet, Prince Puma make his debut in AEW. So yeah, we're gonna talk about what I like to do with Thursdays. I gotta be brutally honest. Mate. I kind of like to take a break away from WWE. A wrestling podcast. WWE has so much content. They're kind of like the president of the United States. Like even when they fart, it's like, oh my god, that's crazy. I'm just kidding, no, but no, like WWE is under the landscape of like basically every journalism in terms of the wrestling industry. So I'm like, you know what, Thursday, let's take a break from WWE here. Let's talk about something other than that. You know what I mean? And the next best thing to it is AEW. So, all right. But before we get into any of that, I want to remind you guys to hit up this super chat link. Be awesome. All of you guys are absolutely 1,010% awesome. So, whether if you have a burning question or if it's a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, we just want to hear what you guys are dying to share here at the GSMC Sports Network. We are all ears, 1,010%. The show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy and drop those comments. And if you really want to make sure your comment or question gets noticed, why not use that super chat? Go ahead and hit up that box below that super chat, below the chat, the dollar sign, and send in your message. It's going to be guaranteed on the show. Your super chats helps us keep the lights on and bring you even more awesome sports / on this show wrestling content. And we are absolutely 1,010% super grateful for each and every one of you who joined us here daily from show to show to show. 1,010% your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats because you guys are super great, super awesome, and let's just do it. Make it like Nike and just do it. And if the super chat is not your thing, just remember that we are still at the GSMC Podcast Network. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the network for more for awesome content in terms of all around. We have a whole bunch of awesome sports podcasts. We have basketball, baseball, newly formed baseball. We have football. It's gonna be great. It's college football. It's fantasy sports. All you who have a draft this weekend, make sure you tune into Chris Shepard's GSMC Draft Fantasy Sports podcast for all your draft, intel. And I'm definitely have a draft that's coming up. And I'm kind of banking on I might draft Amon-Ra St. Brown. I also might. I'm debating on. I don't know. I feel like the moment people start taking quarterbacks, I get a little. I don't know. I get a little antsy. I get a little, I panicky. But I want to draft Lamar Jackson. I feel like he's going to have a breakout season this year. But I don't know. Only time will tell. So let's go and focus more and more on wrestling. Like I said here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. So we're going to talk about our first segment. We're going to talk about some AEW Dynamite. Let's do it. So first and foremost, you saw Jon Moxley start off at Dynamite with kind of like hidden messages, like he was trying to talking in codes. So not a lot. Tony Schiavone, he met him inside the ring, and Jon Moxley just looked lost. He just looked lost 1,010%. He called out Darby Allin, and he said, and I quote, "This is not your company anymore." He said that to Tony Schiavone. Even Taz, even the other announcer was like, "Dude, like what does he mean by that? What does he mean?" A lot of people, there's a lot of skepticism around the professional wrestling breaking news industry who are freaking out. They were absolutely freaking out 1,010%, saying that maybe this is a way that Shane McMahon makes his debut in AEW. But then I kind of thought to myself, I was like, you know what? The WCW tried to do this before. And then this whole WWE invasion thing, a lot of people think that a lot of WWE superstars are going to start making their way into AEW, creating this forbidden door, which would be pretty cool. But all in all, he could have been talking to Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the leaders of the EVPs. They were basically the chairmen. They were basically, the general manager of AEW when Tony Khan wasn't present. And they've been running the show for quite some time. Obviously, they got the tag team title belts. They got their buddy Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker, the AEW Continental Championship. You also got your man, Jack Perry, the championship as well. So there could be a lot of, hidden factors that could be into it. But right now, there's a lot of speculation going on that Shane McMahon could, be creating a faction to kind of take down basically anybody who gets in his way, AEW Dynamite. So should be, I don't know. It should be interesting to find out how it unfolds. I hope it doesn't unfold badly. I honestly don't. I hope it doesn't end up like a Eric Bischoff Millionaires Club or like freaking, like Hulk Hogan. Like I don't know. I feel like AEW in terms of professional wrestling is great, overall, and I feel like it's great for just overall wrestling. So I think it should be pretty awesome. Next, we had the Hangman Adam Page taking on Tomohiro Ishii. Ishii put up a fight against not Ethan Page, Hangman Adam Page. But overall, you saw Page pick up the victory. Then, of course, you saw the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland come out and address the tantrums that he's been throwing lately. Even the fans felt a little bit reluctant in cheering for Swerve Strickland, finding out the real reason why Hangman Adam Page wants to square a debt with him. You saw Swerve Strickland, pull up to his house. He beat him in front of his family and then, his wife and his kids. And, he was, home invasion kind of thing. And a lot of the fans didn't really know how to respond to Hangman Adam Page because all over AEW, he's been wreaking havoc. For my opinion, I feel like it's been kind of annoying. But he kind of beat down Jeff Jarrett. And I'm not a huge Jeff Jarrett kind of guy. But I was like, you know what? Like, before, he had this thing with Bryan Danielson, he was kind of seen as like, he's not a heel, but he's not a good guy. So maybe perhaps you can have that, that character development, maybe that internal battle that you have between what is right and what is wrong that Hangman Adam Page could ultimately be representing within his bookings in AEW. And I feel like it's great. A lot of people like watching Hangman. He puts on a lot of great matches. He's been around the professional wrestling industry for quite some time. So 1,010%, putting him against Swerve Strickland is pretty. It's a win-win. Um, Swerve Strickland had the balls. He had basically asked Hangman Adam Page, "What kind of man do you want to be? Want to show your kids?" And oh my God, oh man, he did overall storm off in like a blaze of frustration. But I think this match is going to be made. Swerve Strickland challenges Hangman Adam Page at AEW All Out to a steel cage match to lock out absolutely everybody and keep them to. And it's going to be great. I feel like All Out, it's 9 days away now, the next PLE. And overall, I feel like it's gonna live up to the hype. You got a lot of matches inside the works right now. So, I don't know, I feel great. Next we got Jamie Hayter in her debut, in her in-match debut at AEW Dynamite, taking on Harley Cameron. She absolutely dominated. She was great. Definitely have a lot of positive things in the future for Jamie Hayter. MJF came out, denounces his American citizenship. It's kind of crazy. And then he looked to the camera and basically told Will Ospreay that this fight is not over. It's never over. Then, of course, he saw Daniel Garcia come out and attack MJF. And, he was beating the holy hell out. He even choked him out. And then you saw security come in, obviously, to protect MJF. And MJF got up, started attacking the returning Daniel Garcia. And then I don't know. Overall, it was a great promo. I feel like it was a great promo. Both of these guys obviously hate the hell out of each other. He threw the mic right at MJF's face, so I thought that was actually kind of cool. And then I don't know, he just looked really pissed. Like I don't know if MJF's that good of an actor, and the way he looks into the camera and he has this look of determination on his face. Not a lot of wrestlers could do that. That's why he's one of the best to do it. So, they're going to have a match at AEW's All Out taking place in 9 days. So, I can't wait. It's going to be pretty awesome. But overall, gotta show some love to MJF here. He was able to kind of put Daniel Garcia over by taking him out about a month ago. And now overall, he comes back. He kind of cost MJF the championship, the AEW International Championship. And now you're going to have a feud between those two before he even decides to go after Will Ospreay once again. So overall, I felt like it was perfect. It was a perfect promo. I thought it was great. Give it 5 stars. All right, next we see the conglomeration teaming up with Hook against Roderick Strong and the Learning Tree. Hook was able to tap out Roderick Strong. The Undisputed Kingdom attacked the FTW champion Hook. Roderick Strong hints at a challenging Hook in the future, which is, kind of perfect. I feel like, Roderick Strong, he's a perfect match for Hook. But overall, I don't know. I feel like with the experience that Hook has, and Roderick Strong he can get dirty. He can get crazy and get his hands dirty. So I think it's going to be pretty great. Next, we have the Mariah May title celebration postponed because basically she was just talking major crap to the crowd, saying that, I'm not going to have my celebration in this raggedy town. So we had that. Also, Ricochet in the main event took on Kyle Fletcher. It was an amazing match. It was perfect for Ricochet in terms of, I didn't want to see him destroy somebody, obviously, in terms of WWE, when you have somebody, debuting in WWE, usually it's like a squash match. But it was a great way for, it was overall a great way for Ricochet to kind of show his skills. He did a lot of athletic maneuvers. Kyle Fletcher is like basically the next best thing to Will Ospreay. A lot of fans wanted to see Ospreay and Ricochet go at it based on their history and their 5-star matches rated by Dave Meltzer. But overall, you got Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher was pretty good. Overall, you did have your sense of doubt that maybe Ricochet is gonna win. Maybe Kyle Fletcher was gonna win. Overall, I was like 45% Ricochet winning, but overall, it was a good match. I thought it was a great match, a great way to kind of ease on in Ricochet. After the match, you saw the Bastard Pack attack Will Ospreay when he came out to ultimately, confront Ricochet, his former friend, and also his protege, Kyle Fletcher. Bryan Danielson talked about winning the AEW championship, and that's his most favorite moment in his career, and that's kind of cool. And he said he's not yet ready to retire. He's going to fight anyone who wants a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And much to my chagrin, the person who answered was the scapegoat Jack Perry, the AEW TNT champion. I'm not too high on Jack Perry. I ultimately think he's kind of a punk. Backstage, I saw reports saying he has no respect for absolutely anybody but himself. So, you can't really make a wrestling career off that. He was ultimately the reason why CM Punk left AEW was because he was disrespectful, didn't know how to respect his elders. And, it was kind of bad, and I did not want to see Jack Perry challenge for the AEW World Championship because in terms of the AEW World Championship and in terms of the name Jack Perry, the two just don't go along. Jack Perry will never ever be an AEW World Heavyweight Champion. I have a gut feeling, but I don't know. He's just not marketable. He's just not marketable. He has this dark, ominous, like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Let's have this guy paint the AEW TNT Championship, like, and throw some red paint on it. Be like, oh, that's blood. Like, dude, like we're wrestling fans, but we're not dumb. You know what I mean? Like, we're not dumb. I, hated that Jack Perry answered the call, but it should be interesting to find out what AEW does in terms of this booking, especially with Bryan Danielson on the fringe of retirement and also becoming a part timer instead of a full time superstar. All right, next we're gonna knock it a dilly dally. We're gonna talk about my Thursday night wrestling previews. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds.